Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome back to the Two Goat Show. We're your hosts, Miriah and Steph. Steph, happy Thursday. How you doing?
Happy Thursday. I'm not too bad. Just getting into this off season.
Yep. Putting out lots of content. So make sure if you guys are not, checked in with Steph 49K on YouTube, that you are subscribed to her channel. Hit that bell because she has a lot of off-season content coming out. She's interviewing a lot of prospects that are coming out into the NFL. So a lot of different content from, a lot of the other 49ers content creators. So make sure that you're tuned in with her. Steph, let's kind of start right there and talk to me about, the interviews, some of the interviews that you have done and, how those are going.
Yeah, they're really just getting started. Like I started doing them. I believe the first one came out Monday, and that was with Mason Pline, tight end. I did 2 tight ends the first couple days. Other one was Lincoln Sefcik. And then yesterday I had Aiden Robbins, BYU running back, also former UNLV running back Aiden Robbins. And then I had a first set of defensive linemen. Yesterday I had Jamari Chroma from James Madison. And then today, that was the one I was most excited for because he's probably gotten the most buzz out of anyone I've interviewed so far. Like this offseason, Christian Boyd from Northern Iowa. He got a lot of recognition at the Shrine Bowl, a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I mean he's definitely looking like a guy who's gonna get drafted. And then after this show, I'm gonna be interviewing the first offensive lineman of these interviews, Theo Benedict from University of British Columbia. So he's from Canada. That's gonna be interesting. Definitely want to hear about his experience with like what football is like out there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's an interesting case because he actually was going to I believe he had declared already for the draft last season. He was at the Shrine Bowl last season, and then kind of after that he decided to go back to school another year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he had great buzz, a good week of like being at the Shrine Bowl and all that. He was going to be like one of the better offensive linemen available. But yeah, he decided to go back. So now he's, back going through the process again. And so, yeah, definitely going to ask him about that and his journey and, how things are going for him so far. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that the running back yesterday had also went to UNLV. I was going to tell you that was my favorite interview so far, just because he just, seems like not only, into football, great football, but like such a great dude, like he was so like, you know what I'm saying. Like he seems like he would fit into what the 49ers culture and, the kind of players that they usually look at. And now the fact that he went to UNLV now makes me like him even more. So
yeah, no, he's a dog. Like when I watch any of his clips, it's like he doesn't go down with the first contact. And I asked him like who are some guys in the NFL you kind of watch and model your game after. He mentioned a bunch of guys with that same type of like DNA too. Like he mentioned Derrick Henry, he mentioned Christian McCaffrey, all those guys that are hard to bring down. So if you watch him, like, yeah, you definitely see that in his game. Yeah, he had a hell of a year at UNLV actually. So yeah, that's a good one as well. That was Aiden Robbins. So
yeah,
make sure you guys check that out.
What's up, chat? Appreciate you guys all being here. Hope you guys are all doing well. Happy Thursday. I want to go back and, I was thinking a lot this week about this last season, and I hate that since obviously we didn't win the Super Bowl, and obviously, I'm with everybody. That's the goal. That's what, is expected. But I think kind of in that loss, like the the great season that we had like gets lost in all that. It's like,
Hmm.
oh well, since we didn't win the Super Bowl, like screw the whole season, and I just feel like there was a lot of good in this season. It ended wrong, but I kind of wanted to take a look back and go through and give some awards to a couple of players, and then take a look at next season and who we think will get those awards next season. But before we get into that, Ayuk is back in the news today, so I want to touch on that first. First, Ayuk puts out a public service announcement saying that his brother had shown like him some video saying that, like I'm tired of seeing these videos online where, DBs or whatever are, like hitting you in the face mask, like during a play or after a play, whether it be open palm, fist, whatever. And so Ayuk was putting out a service announcement saying that, like basically that does nothing. Like if you hit him in the face mask, in the helmet, whether it's whether it's a fist, open hand, he's like, that does nothing, to him. Um, Pretty much like if you're gonna like stand on business and be a man and you're about that, like hit me in the throat. Like that's where he's like, we have pads from here and a helmet from here. He's like, the area that there's no protection on is the throat. So if you're about it, hit me in the throat. And I thought I'm like, okay, Ayuk he's really coming to his own. I thought that was pretty interesting to see a video come out like that. And then he said at the end, like, stop DMing me, stop, like tagging me and shit. Like, and then his baby mama, who we heard from the day after the Super Bowl, she comes out with a post today that says, I'm getting a kick out of grown men acting like I leaked top secret info. This is not the Krabby Patty secret formula, baby. Ain't nothing a secret. And moves made in his life, we now have lots to figure out since, oh, we live together and share a child. We move as a unit.
Did she capitalize we? Because that's what it
Yep.
sounded like, right? Okay.
And also, we
No.
live together was all in caps. Thoughts on the whole Ayuk double situation here?
Well, first, like as everyone's saying in the comments, like, yeah, Ayuk is a dog. Like we've been knew that. Um, and yeah, people take shots on the field, and I agree with him. Like hitting someone with a helmet on doesn't do anything. Like it hurts you more than anything, so you just look dumb. Uh but man, inviting people to hit you in the throat, that's different. That's different. But I feel like he can handle it if he's, inviting people to do it. And then as far as, the baby mom or whatever you want to call her, the partner, saying all this stuff. Look, I had said, like, when the brother said things, when she said things originally, I was like, Brandon Ayuk's a grown ass man, and he's going like the negotiations are going to happen between the team, his agent, and him, right? But she has a point. I mean, if they're making decisions together, like I assume she's going to have some say. Like if that's how Brandon Ayuk feels, that he's like going to take her opinion into account in all this, like she suggests, maybe that's something too. But I have to imagine, like, what he wants is going to weigh just a little bit more than what she wants. So yeah, it's cool that she has a say in everything. That's a sign of a healthy relationship, I think. But at the end of the day, it's still about what's best for Brandon Ayuk. And I mean, hopefully that's in San Francisco, right?
Yeah. I as much as I want to keep telling myself, like, and I even was telling you guys this last week, like, this is the way things are done now, whatever. It's like when it's your favorite player doing it, like, I feel like just stabs into the heart a little bit more, and it's just like, man, like, can you just shut up and leave my boy being there happy, like, like if you're putting this, like, I feel like if the baby mama is putting this out on social media, both things that she said, like, what is she putting out in his ear behind the closed doors? It's like, is she
Yeah.
telling him, like, oh, the 49ers aren't good for you, like, it's like, it doesn't, like, she's not putting out anything positive so far. So it just seems like, I don't know. Just like,
But like, do you think like as part of negotiation tactics, like, you got to play some hardball, right? To get the numbers you want. Like, is she trying to put this out there to press the situation a little bit? Like, cause that's kind of how I uh interpreted it, all of it, because as soon as the Super Bowl loss, like all this stuff came out of nowhere. We didn't hear any of this during the season. Um, you know, and of course, like Super Bowl losses will bring out emotions
right,
from people, but she's still going, right? So to me, there's got to be something more there. But I agree, it's definitely like bad vibes. Like I don't like the vibes. Um, and you're right, like she could be in his ear a little bit, but like I say, at the end of the day, it's about what Brandon Ayuk wants more. And at the end of the day too, money talks. They want a bag. Players want a bag, and they have every right to want a bag in their careers, and to take care of their family and all that, make all the work that they've put in worth it. So money talks. At the end of the day, like if he gets the bag, none of this other stuff they're talking about is really gonna matter.
right. Yeah. I think he deserves a bag. Like, I'm glad he's finally getting the shine that he deserves. Obviously I'm hoping that the 49ers pay him. But I mean, if it don't work out, like, I'm hoping the best and that he gets the bag regardless where he goes. Like, I've been a fan of Brandon Ayuk before, long before he was a 49er. He's from the same state as me. And I've watched him for a long time. So I'll continue to watch him even if he's not a 49er. But of course, I'd much rather him be wearing, the red and gold. So the baby mama, she better shh. All right. So let's get into some little award show here. And then also I have a little segment of who would you? So we're gonna get into that. All right, let's go fast because we gotta get Steph out of here. She's a busy woman. All right. So for this season, you can have it, the entire season plus playoffs. We're not the NFL. We can make our own rules. So clutch player of the year.
Uh I definitely feel like there's some recency bias in my answer here because I want to say Jawan Jennings.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean he kind of just carved out a little role of being that clutch guy in the playoffs when the team needed him. I mean, we've always known him as being that guy on third downs, third and Juwan and all that. But I think he was more than that a little bit, like in the playoffs. So I would say him, but I think, like I said, that's kind of a recency bias answer. So looking at the entire season, let's see, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say McCaffrey actually. Like, McCaffrey's been clutch
Yeah.
for this team. It just seemed like anytime you needed something from him, like he delivered. So definitely it'd be really close between those two guys.
Yeah, I when I was doing this list of awards, I'm like CMC could definitely go for like a whole big portion of the list because he was just that freaking good for us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
man. Um Most improved vet. There's also
Hmm.
going to be like not a rookie but a first and second year, so somebody that's been in the league 3 or more years. It doesn't have to be with us for
Okay.
all 3 years, whatnot, but most improved vet this season.
I like this category first of all because I think there's this notion that like, oh, if you're most improved is because you were young, you didn't know any better,
Hmm.
and like, yeah, I mean, you can improve at any point in your career. So I definitely like giving recognition to some veterans here. I got to think about this one. So, I mean, uh, I want to say, let's see. I'm gonna say Lenore. And my reasoning for that, like obviously he was good last year, and I think he was good all season. But the fact that he was able to, in the middle of the season, take on that role of being like, the nickel for this team, like that's not easy. It's not easy going from the outside to the inside. The inside is one of the hardest spots to defend because of the type of players you see there. The um, oh yeah, this is a good one too. Symmetry says Kinlaw.
Hmm.
That's definitely a good one. I slipped up not mentioning Kinlaw. Don't come for me, but uh, yeah, I mean Lenore, I think definitely deserves some props in it as well for just how he was able to hold things down, and be versatile for this team in the secondary.
Yeah. If Lenore like continues playing how he played this past year, whether the 49ers go out this coming up draft and draft another outside guy and Lenore takes over in the slot, or they draft a slot guy and Lenore takes over that, other outside spot. I think either way, if he continues to play how he played this season, like we definitely have a dude, like
Yeah.
hopefully they find a way to keep him because like I love like the way he plays. Like the way he's just able to lay the freaking boom on guys with it still being legal, like that's so hard to do these days, like to be so smart about it. And like most of the time when he does it, like I'm just waiting, for the flags to come flying because the refs like are so flag happy anyway. And somehow he like does it so perfect and is able, like he takes the soul out of these players, like he took the soul out of the entire Eagles team with one hit, like so yeah, I think he had an awesome season. So the most improved, I put rising star, first second year guy.
Most improved rising star. So only second year players?
First or second.
First or second? Okay. Let's see. Let me go through the list here.
So
Cold
obviously
McKivitz. I'm just kidding.
obviously if they're a rookie, then we would have to know how
Just
they played
kidding.
in
Yeah,
college,
yeah,
or
he's
how
not.
they could be they improved throughout the season as well, from how they looked the beginning to the end as well.
I would say Jaya Brown. Like I think he was, coming in, having to fill in a spot for Talanoa Hufanga. Those are big shoes to fill. Um, and he had some ups and downs with it. Like, it wasn't always easy. You could say he was benched. I don't know if they would officially say that, but I think we all kind of knew, at least like after the injury he sustained, he was benched at least one game. He comes back, obviously proves himself in the course of practices leading up to that. And he shows why he should have, remained on the roster, or sorry, in the starting lineup, and to go into the Super Bowl, your rookie season, you didn't even play the whole year, and you're able to pick off Patrick Mahomes. That's big. That's big. I love that for Jair Brown. I'm really excited to see him alongside Hufanga next season. You're gonna see a lot of big hits, I think, between those two guys. So yeah, I'd say Jair Brown.
Yeah, I love that. My dog's here scratching me. I'm like, what the hell do you want? Yeah, I'm super, super excited for him and Huff playing together. Like, I was gonna say something, but I just think about the playmakers that those two are and taking over for the safety tandem that we had together for so many years that weren't necessarily playmakers. I'm very excited for what's coming. Let's just say that. Let's do defensive player of the year.
For me, it would honestly be very close between Mooney Ward and Lenore. Like Mooney Ward has been so consistent for the defense, for the secondary. He's been able to shut down receivers, like, him being able to shadow and shut down DK Metcalf. When he was out there, I know he got hurt the second time around, but and Lenore, for the reasons I mentioned, earlier, I just think he showed us new wrinkles in his game, and he definitely is one of those dudes. I see a lot of people say like the 49ers need a CB2. I don't know. They don't need a CB2. They need a slot corner, because personally I like Lenore on the outside better. I know he was really good inside, but I don't think they need a CB2. I think they got two really good corners in Mooney Ward and Lenore.
Yep, I agree. How about offensive player of the year? There's also an MVP spot, so keep that in mind.
I'm gonna say Christian McCaffrey, just because, like, I think Christian just has so much involvement in the offensive success of this team. Like, a lot of it does revolve around him and his work in the ground game, what he's able to do in the passing game as well as an outlet for Brock Purdy, always being reliable. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so I'm gonna say CMC.
Yep, I like it. Ty says you're his Shiro. Shiro. I don't think she's not talking about Ambry Thomas. She's talking about Charvarius and Lenore both being on the outside. Nobody's talking about Ambry, that's for sure. Let's go MVP.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to go with Christian too. I feel bad because, like, I feel like, Brock, I haven't been able to give Brock any props. I know you know Symmetry 7 mentioned Brock as most improved rising star. That was definitely a good one too, but I didn't mention him for that. But yeah, it's just too hard to not give it to McCaffrey, just because of how important he is to this offense. I think he is the MVP of this team.
Yeah. To see, like, we thought, like, oh, we got a genius, head coach, the, great play caller, all this before, and, thought, oh, he's supposed to have this great offense. And then we saw what it turned into once we inserted CMC into there. And it was just like, holy smokes, like, they're doing things in this offense I didn't even think were possible. But when you put somebody in there that's so damn good at every single thing that he does on the field, whether he has the ball in his hands or not,
Right.
whether he's getting the ball or not, like, he's doing all the little things on the field that make him so freaking special. And I'm going to continue to say, like, the best trade that the 49ers have made in my, like, my memory ain't too great, y'all, okay? But as far as I can remember back, like, man, that's going to go down in the books, that's for sure. And don't forget, don't let those people, they remember they graded it a fucking C- when we made
We will
that
never
trade.
let them forget that.
Hashtag never forget. Okay. Um, the this is one, like, based on the player's character. We talk about how the 49ers have, they look for something certain, a special something in the guys that they put on this football team. And not necessarily, like, not the man of the year type thing,
Mhm.
Eric Armstead thing, not like, necessarily in the community, but just the best man that from seeing obviously what we can see, just as a father, as a husband, as a community, as a teammate, as a friend, all that.
Um, yeah, that's tough because, like, I think we only see so much of these guys in, their characters, in interviews, which is, pretty small amount of time if you really think about it. They have so many, like, high character guys. I don't know if I can just name, like, one. You know what? I'm gonna say Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy, like, this is his word. Like, he exemplifies everything that is what the 49ers look for in terms of, like, character. Like, he's so freaking humble. He's obviously a really hard worker. Um he takes accountability, for things. I think in public speaking with the media, like, he's great with the media. He's very transparent. He's very honest. Um, you could tell, like, there's no ego on that man. Like, he's just the perfect example of what the 49ers, I think, look for in players. And it's also the perfect example of how being a high character player can, or being a high character guy can make you a better football player. So yeah, that's definitely his award.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would also throw Fred Warner out there. I think,
Yeah.
especially with what now that, the ones that have podcasts and stuff like that, we get to see a little bit more,
Mhm.
of them. And just seeing, like, the way he interacts, with his wife, and, like, I'm so excited for them to have their baby. Like, I can't wait to see him, like, as a dad, But you listen to his teammates talk about him, and, like, they all talk so great about him. And, like, like you're saying, perfect of what, of the 49ers with Brock. Like, I think that's exactly with Fred Warner too. Like, he is a 49er through and through. Like, I can never see him, like, playing for somewhere else. Like, he is just, like, everything the 49ers have been about. He's been here through the ups, the downs. He's, like, a major, like, building block, fundamental piece, of this team. And yeah, I just think he's, like, a great guy. I've had the opportunity of meeting him. Like, he was great in person. And yeah, both great picks. Mr. Congeniality.
Um so, like, forgive me, people, with my, like, pop culture, I guess, like, unknowingness here. Congeniality, like, what is that? what
Like,
what is that actually,
the
like, an
nicest,
award
like,
for?
a nice guy, team player,
I
keeps
mean,
everybody.
I feel like in that sense, like, Brock would probably fall into that too, because that's pretty similar to, like, the character thing in my book. But again, like, there's so many guys on this team that I think, could get that too. Um,
This is exactly
but
where I was going. Kittle as
Kittle,
well.
yeah, that's a good one. So, I
Because
mean, do
he's the
you do
one
you think it's,
rallying
like, more
everybody through the game.
like bubbly personality, or just like,
Yeah,
okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
that's what.
definitely Kittle. He keeps the vibes and the spirits high, I think, with the team no matter what. I mean, he will try his best, and that's always appreciated.
Yep. Um, a lot of people saying Kittle. Uncle Salty says Uncle Salty is Mr. Congeniality. I've also had the pleasure of meeting Uncle Salty, and he is Mr. Congeniality. I agree. Um, Position coach of the year. And based on this is like the which position group, obviously they're coaching whatever, but as well as their position group, really shined.
Huh. Um,
Don't say Steve
I'm.
Wilkes.
I mean, I don't want to say Steve Wilkes, but I do want to say second, like the secondary. So maybe like Johnny Holland, obviously, like, no, not Holland, Bullocks,
Yeah, Bullocks.
having a hand in that. Like I'm sure Steve Wilkes had a hand in that too because
Mhm.
he is the secondary guy. Uh, so even despite like the defense maybe taking a step back or not looking the way we expected them to, I think that they exceeded our expectations because that was kind of the weak point, in previous seasons. It was the secondary. So they didn't give up a lot of explosives this year. That was one of the big things with them in the past. Um, I think all of the corners, well, I'll include Ambry Thomas in this because most of the season, like Ambry Thomas, once he started, was solid enough for the team. And that in itself, I think, says a lot given what we knew about Ambry Thomas going into the year, and then having Mooney Ward and Lenore take steps in their career too, because we already knew they were good, and it just felt like they took greater command of the defense this season as well. So yeah, I'm gonna say the secondary.
Yep, I agree. And yeah, you talk about Ambry, and yeah, obviously, he shouldn't be a starter, I don't think. But go before the year started, a lot of us didn't even think he was going to make the team, make the final roster.
Yeah.
When doing our like roster predictions, a lot of the content creators that I watched, and even ones that aren't, and just fan predictions and stuff on social media, like a lot of people had Ambry either getting cut or traded. So I definitely agree there. All right, so let's go to the who would you. Get ready. Who would you invite to your wedding?
That's a great question. Um oh man. I would say Kittle, but like actually um I think I have to answer Nick Bosa, right? Like I have to answer Nick Bosa. That's basically my brother. Uh it might be a little dull, but I have to say Nick.
I like it. I
But
like it.
but I am also tempted to say like Debo or one of the wide receivers because they're hype, like
Yeah.
they hear
Trent
music, they start
Williams.
dancing, they might bring the boombox out. Yeah, Trent too. Like they bring the boombox out and we're just dancing in the middle of the dance floor. So I want that energy at my wedding as well. Kittle for the
Yeah.
speech. Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. There's quite a few good ones there. All right. Who would you, I don't know if your brother's still here, but this question involves him. Who would you trade your brother for the day for to go to a family event?
That's hilarious. Yeah, I wonder if my brother is still watching. That's a really funny question. Trade him for the day. I mean, I would easily trade him for any player on the team for a day. I mean, if it's
Damn,
just
you
a
heard that?
day. It's just a day. I mean, he'd probably do the same to me. Uh
But
Definitely
to a
someone who's
family
like
event.
to a family event. So they got to be cool too. Like they can't be too crazy. Um Man, I don't know why, like, this might surprise people, but Imma say Mooney Ward. Like, I think, like, Mooney Ward just surprises people with his, like he seems to have, like, a very fun personality, but it's, like, a low-key fun personality
Mhm.
where it's like you have like a one-on-one conversation with him, and it'll come out. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'd say him.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like I always think like he's probably like really cool to just like kick it and like vibe with and have
Right?
like
Yeah,
great conversation with and like just to
exactly.
be able to chill with. Um who would you be be your roommate for a week? So somebody you're not going to get sick of after a couple days. You don't know if they're a slob, like they're
Right.
stinky.
Um, that's tough. That's really tough. Because Kittle would be good, but like I also feel like he'd get like after a while, it would really wear on me. Just his
Mhm.
type of energy. Um, it would exhaust me a little bit. Uh, I'll say Greenlaw.
That's a good one. That's a good
I
one.
feel like he'd be entertaining as well.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. Um, who would you let either once you have kids, babysit your kid or your old sick grandma?
Huh. Okay. Who's good with older people or children? Um, I'm gonna say, let's see. I'm gonna say Kyle Juszczyk, and I'm going based off of Debo's answer of who he would let, babysit his kid, because he knows from firsthand experience. So I'm gonna say Juice.
I like it. I like it. Um, who would you think would be the best in drag?
um,
Who would be the prettiest in
well,
drag?
yeah, you know how they always do those every once in a while it'll show up on the timeline. I'm sure in the off season it will again, like all the quarterbacks and
Mm,
as women.
yeah,
But we don't
they're
see any of the
funny.
other we don't ever see any of the other players. Maybe Christian McCaffrey. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see
I
that
could
for sure.
I could see that.
So,
Like the chiseled
Wishnowski,
jawline works for women too.
Shanahan. Shanahan's in
Hey,
drag on the
hey, you
cover.
you had him in the thumbnail, so you gave people ideas. Wishnowski is a good one too because he has the long hair. Yeah, I could see that. So I
I
said
can say
Wishnowski.
Kittle too. He got some long hair,
So
just
he
to
has the
make it
long
fun.
hair, but like he's a little scruff like everywhere else. So I don't know.
Um, I could
Oh
also
man.
see. Oh, when I wrote it down, somebody had popped in my. Oh, Fred. I think Fred has a nice, like, good
Oh,
skin. Like if he shaved
you
everything
know
off his
what?
face, like
I think
smooth,
you're right.
nice, like great color. I'm like, I could see it.
Yeah, I
So
think you're
Vegas.
right. So Vegas. I can see
um,
that. I can see that though. That'd be nice.
all right, so let's look towards next season and do a couple award predictions. If we're doing this same exact show at the end of next season, who do you think is the vet? Remember, 3+ years that takes the biggest leap.
Next season.
Yep.
Um. Hmm.
And obviously, we don't know who if we're going to make
Yeah.
trades and players
Yeah.
that we get. So
So just
obviously, this is
assume, just
just
looking
it's a
at the
team. Yeah.
current group of guys. I'm gonna say, I think Bosa honestly like has an improved year next
I
year.
hope.
I think he will. I think he will. I think, he's admitted that the whole contract thing, really impacted his preparation for the season. I mean, I it may not seem like that should be able to impact your entire season, like just a few months of the off season. Um, but I think it really does. And so him admitting that to me tells me like he's really gonna want to change that this offseason. And I also think that like the whole Steve Wilkes factor,
Mhm.
impacted the defensive line and their impact this year too. So I think hopefully with a better defensive coordinator that puts, the defensive line, Nick Bosa in favorable positions, along with Nick Bosa, just really focusing on what he needs to improve this offseason, whatever that may be. Um, yeah, I think it would not shock me if Nick Bosa is like a DPOY candidate next year again.
Yeah, I hope so. Like, that kind of scares me, and part of the reason why I wish 49ers didn't wait so long to get their contracts done with, like, these stars, because now back-to-back seasons, we've heard Debo say it and Bosa both say that, their contract stuff that was going on in the off season and them not, working with the team and stuff till late into the season, like, off season starting, that it affected their seasons. So it's like, now are we going to have to expect that same thing? If they pay Ayuk this season, it's like, oh, well, you guys waited till the week before the season started, so he didn't do shit all off season either, and it's just like
That's a good point.
like a vicious freaking cycle that's going to keep going because they wait so freaking long to get deals done. Like, hey, I can get the shit done. Sorry, guys. Like, and more than anything with Ayuk, like, I want him to have an off season with Brock Purdy. They haven't had an
Yeah.
off season together.
Yeah.
Think
Well, I
and
mean, Brandon Ayuk, he's still under contract next year, so it's not like he's in risk of holding out, or like he should still continue to practice with Brock Purdy this offseason if he has the
but
chance.
if he doesn't risk injury, like, that's the thing. Like, players don't want to go out there and get hurt. God forbid he's out there practicing and tears
Well,
the ACL and
I
he
think
ain't gonna fucking get paid.
I think he would have to play anyway, because like the way I think like now it's so much harder for players to um what's the word called, like when they uh, don't hold out, like it's
Hold
so
on.
much harder for them to do that, like they get fined
Well, like Debo, he
heavily.
didn't hold out. Like, he showed up, but he didn't do nothing when he was there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, that's their way of holding out now. Um, so yeah, I just wish they would do things a little bit sooner so our guys could, be working out with their team and not have so much freaking drama. So the same that we did the rising star, who do you think is our rising star? Obviously, it would have to be a second year guy because we don't know who the rookies are going to be. So a rookie, a guy that was a rookie this season, or maybe even if he was a first, second year player that we haven't got to see play too much.
I'm gonna go with Darrell Luter. Like
Oh, I like it.
I think there's an opportunity for him. And I recall Adam Peters saying, like, after he was drafted, that he was one of the most like NFL ready guys like that they drafted. Now like we didn't really see him much, this season, just because he started the season with injury. He was on the pup list, so that kind of derailed his first season. We saw him on special teams a bit, but I think with a full off season, being with the team, yeah, I could definitely see him having an impact. He's nice.
Which one of those linebackers you think fills in for Greenlaw? Like, if we
I
don't end up
think
getting,
as
somebody else.
well as right now, as far as the depth chart like has seemed to be, D Winters is the guy that
Greenlaw.
would between the two, right? If we're just talking about Jalen
Yeah.
Graham and Winters, I think D Winters is ahead of him in the depth chart. So, as of right now, I'd say him.
Yeah. Should be interesting. Um, let's do MVP next season. Who do you think will be our Christian McCaffrey? Does he get back to back?
Yeah, I'm like, it could be Christian McCaffrey, like, honestly. I mean, I think it could be either McCaffrey, or it could be, maybe Brock again if he improves. I think he could even be like Nick. Well, yeah, it's harder to say defensive players, but on the defensive side, I'd say it could even be Nick Bosa next year. Um, but I'm going to go with the safe one here. I'm going to say Christian McCaffrey.
Ty, I'm with you. I would like to see Womack. Like, I don't understand what is going on, like, with Womack. Like, he's like such a fan favorite without the fans ever really even getting to see him. You know, it's like can we get to see our guy out there a little bit this next season? All right, we had a couple questions that I starred here, so let's answer them real quick, and then I let you get out of here. Let's just do this one, and then we'll let you go. Who is the biggest free agent the Niners should target? Uncle Salty would like to know.
Salty, I'm sorry, but I haven't really looked into like the free agents yet. I'm still, yeah, you know, I'm in this draft mode still.
Or maybe
I don't know.
position.
As far as position, let's just go with that. I mean, the obvious one would be offensive lineman, right? It might not be a sexy name for offensive lineman. They might go the like John Feliciano route, as we've seen. That can be good. Like if you get a solid veteran that fits within your system, I think we see that in addition, obviously, to like them, drafting maybe one or two. But yeah, I think offensive lineman. I think corner is going to be another thing. I think experience is important there. Like and the fact that they bring in these corners or these like safeties like late in the season and they're all these like veteran guys. I think it tells you they lean on experience a lot, especially with where this team is at, at their point. So yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they got a corner as well. It would be awesome if they got a corner who can, return, punts as well. Like it'd be on kick return duty. That'd be great.
I agree. All right. As Steph said at the beginning of the show, she has an interview with another NFL prospect coming up in 10 minutes. So make sure you guys tune in, check it out, be there or be square. We're out of here, faithful. Until next week, everybody take care of yourselves. Much love. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you all.
Peace.
Peace.